What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? We're live, baby. We are live right now on YouTube. Both the tubes. Personal YouTube and the big YouTube. We're also live right now on Rockfin. Shout out all my Rockfin people. And before we get started, I do want to do some YouTube shout outs, of course. But I also got to do some shout outs for our new Rockfin premium members. There's a lot of them. All of them joined yesterday. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the Rockfin premium members real quick. Got to give a shout out to Tom Ferguson, Jeff Menard, Justin Lips Watson, Allison Oliver, Craig Brill, Eric Anderson, Will Langston, Basil Arichwa, Cynthia Henry, Barbara Boyd, somebody who named themselves I Am Endorsed, Keith, Darren Kennedy, Oliver Mellicher, Alexander Kagan, Catherine Ann McCloskey, Ross. Oh man, Catherine, you put all the names in there. All right. Tim Cook. I don't know what Tim Cook that. I hope it ain't the Tim Cook that I'm thinking about. Because if Apple's watching me like that, then we got problems. Lane Cook, Greg Liddell, Hector Villeda, Antonio Picarillo or Picarillo, whichever one. Those are all of our new Rockfin Premium subscribers from yesterday. Shout out to every last one of you. Thank you all so much for supporting independent journalism. And once again, if you are a Rockfin Premium member, don't forget, you don't only get my premium content, but you get the premium content of every single journalist, political commentator, sports commentator on Rockfin. That includes The Convo Couch, Graham Elwood, Jimmy Dore, Kim Iverson, Heartlands Media with Kit and Daniel and the crew. Whitney Webb has her own show on there now. The Last American Vagabond with Ryan Christian. Man, there's a lot. Jason Burmis. The movement on Rockfin is growing steadily, and I'm very, very thankful that they reached out to me to be a part of this movement. And I just hope that we continue to grow, because as we probably have already figured out, it's going to take a huge effort to get over the YouTube censorship. And I'm glad that we've seen so many people collaborating to help us all get over this hump. So with that being said, let's do some quick YouTube shout outs before we get started. So I got your dead grandpa. That's all. That's messed up, man. Luckily my grandpa's alive. He's a machine, honestly. He's the reason I drink coffee so much. He's 86 or 87 now. He works a full-time job, and he does dialysis 3 times a week, and he doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon, thank God. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. That's my boy. Yulu, what's up? What's up? J Mo, Adam B, John P, Looney, Holly. Man, a lot of rhyming going on in here today. All right. Who do we have on the other YouTube page? Anthony, Road Air 3, and Matthew. Way to mess it up, Matthew. Damn. I thought we was gonna close out with a full rhyming scheme, man. I really thought I was gonna be able to finish that. That's okay, Matthew. Appreciate you tuning into the show. Much love. Like I said, right now we are live on Rockfin, YouTube on the MCSC network, and YouTube on our private YouTube page with Niko House. Okay, make sure before we get started that you share this link it, share the link, all that good stuff. Both of those words work. And also make sure you like this video, and we will go ahead and get this party started. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure I close something before we even. I don't want nobody getting their stream interrupted. before we even get started. All right. All right, the establishment gonna learn today. Let's get the show on the road, people. What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. You know it's about to be a crazy show because if I ever come out here in the Pink Panther, you know what I'm saying? Well, the Pink Cheetah, I should say. In the Pink Cheetah shirt and the blue headband, that's because we about to get it popping in this bitch. I need to be as loud as humanly possible, and that goes not only for my voice, but also my clothing attire. Okay, I know that's redundant. Clothing attire is redundant, but I don't need all the judgment coming out your voice right now. Okay, you just need to roll with it and roll with these fire ass opinions and what we about to drop. Because to be honest with you, I cannot believe some of the audacity that I have been seeing on Twitter and on MSNBC and on CNN. I honestly. Like, it's becoming a little bit more frustrating because people that I would have considered allies and maybe even still do to a degree. There's a degree to this shit now. It used to be an ally, but now there's allies to maybe like the 25 degree temperature range. I don't really consider them allies as much as now becoming a potential danger to the movement, because every time we get into this point where it's time to just be principled, which I didn't think was all that difficult, to be honest with you, but apparently it is. It's just be principled. That's all I ask. And yet every single time, the people who, by the way, seemingly have money and security and stability that is reliant on them being loyal to the Democratic Party, I'm sure that's neither here nor there, right? I'm sure that's just a coincidence. But those people constantly let us down, and it's in such an embarrassing way that I truly wonder if when they go back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now and read the tweets, read their comment, listen to their own commentary, and they see the state of this, quite frankly, this fucked up world that we live in, do they have regrets about how easily and quickly they capitulated when it was time to hold people accountable, and instead they decided to give the establishment exactly what they want in order to keep a job, keep a gig, keep the clout, keep that blue check. And it seems like that's what they're chasing, is checks, right? Now, before we get started, of course, if you want to support the show, you can do so by becoming a Rockfin Premium member by scanning that little barcode if you watch from your TV or your iPad. You can also support us on Cash App or become a monthly member on Patreon. Like I said, within the next couple of days, I will enable premium subscriptions on YouTube, and I'll come up with some system where we'll give you all some special content as well, because a lot of people have been telling me they just want to keep, they like keeping their donations and things like that, their premium donations in a centralized location, and then they have so many premium subscriptions on YouTube, they want to keep it that way. That's fine. I'm all about the people. That's why my name is Niko for the people. By the way, fun fact, my name actually means victory for the people. I don't know if you know that. My name is actually the male conjugated version of the goddess Nike. I guess that's where all this feminine energy comes from. Who knows? I thought it was because I was raised by a single mother, but whatever. And Nike actually means victory for the people. That's where my name comes from. So with that being said, it's time to get down to the nitty goddamn gritty. I don't even know what I want to talk about first. I'm dead ass. I don't even know what I want to talk about first. Do you want to talk about? I'm gonna let the comment section decide. Do y'all want to talk about Marianne Williams first, or do y'all want to look at this MSNBC clip of them doing exactly what we predicted they would do, which is, oh my God, Joe Biden won, therefore socialism is bad. Nobody wants socialist policies. People prefer a Republican-light candidate. Well, not even Republican-light. Biden might be more Republican than half of the Republicans, honestly. Reefy Double O, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Love going on Fault Lines. Jamaro and Shane do a fantastic show, so make sure that you go check them out on Fault Line on Sputnik Radio. I think it's 7 to 10 every single weekday. But yeah, love going on their show. So it's MSNBC clip, the Marianne Williamson that, or this kind of breaking news where I caught Wisconsin doing some naughty things just because I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. You know how that goes. But I caught them literally in the act of doing it. So what are y'all saying? So I see Marianne Williamson, got a couple of MSNBCs in there. I see a lot of Marianne Williamsons in here. So I guess we're gonna have to go with the Marianne Williamson stuff first. All right. Somebody said say Wisconsin until the end. So it looks as if we're gonna do the Marianne Williamson stuff first. I was trying to save that to the middle, but the people have spoken. And like I said, I am nothing if not a man of the people. All right. So I'm just trying to gather myself. Before I okay, let's get it started. What the fuck is going on, Marianne Williamson? God damn, I'm tired of these motherfuckers, bro. I'm sick of it. I'm just kidding. Yo, I just don't know what to do anymore. I like Marianne, bro. I really do. But this shit, read this tweet, y'all. She said, as we near the moment of knowing that this nightmare will be over, I'm not experiencing the giddy excitement I expected to feel. I feel more the shock of knowing how close we came to the demise of our democracy, and an almost tearful gratitude that we survived. Bro. Who survived? And the demise of our democracy wasn't just really quick. You know what? We gonna. This is what I said. I responded to her on Twitter. Once again, I like Marianne. That's the bad part. I really do. I like Marianne Williamson. But this shit can't stand, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? As Pasta always says, you gotta call balls and strikes. And they striking out. So I responded with this. The nightmare is over for who? Rich white liberals who get to go back to pretending that POC aren't being bombed overseas? That get to pretend that Biden isn't the architect of this corrupt criminal justice system that plagues the black and brown people? Who cares about us though, right? That's basically what she's saying. Am I wrong? Adam B, thank you very much for the super chat. After the DNC rigged the primary against Marianne, how can she honestly say man, you're getting ahead of the show, Adam. Don't be making my points for me before I make the point, Adam. That's not cool, bro. Yeah, see, I know Adam be watching me too much. Adam know what I'm going to say. Some of y'all be doing that. You think it's slick. That's okay, though. I appreciate it. DC, thank you very much for the super chat. This sham of a democracy can eat my shorts. Word to Bart Simpson. I feel you, bro. But this is basically what she's saying, right? Am I wrong? I feel like I was actually being pretty nice here. Because we survived. Who survived? Did the private prison system get abolished at some point in the last 24 hours? You know, the private prison system that Joe Biden created? Did Tara Reid get justice? Did she get a new position in DC that I missed after she was fired for challenging Joe Biden after he sexually assaulted her? Did I miss that? Did her career survive that? Hold on. Did your campaign survive after you were shut out? And you said that you were being treated better by Republicans than you had been treated by the Democrats. Remember that little hot mic that happened? I remember that. I covered it. Did all those black communities that had been utterly destroyed by neoliberal policies through gentrification, which, by the way, primarily happens in democratically ran cities. Oh, remember, because you were like, oh man, reparations, and you made some brilliant arguments for reparations. Absolutely. Did all that stuff just disappear after your candidacy was over? Did I miss that? Is the war in Iraq over? Did everybody is they survive? So nobody's gonna catch any bullets from the United States Army from here on out in Iraq, considering that Joe Biden was one of the main propagators of the Iraq War. Hold up. Did the Patriot Act get abolished? That little cute bill that Joe Biden worked with Brett Kavanaugh to create? Who exactly is surviving? I'm trying to understand this. Because it's a good chance that it ain't gonna be us. It isn't gonna be independent media. It isn't those, 8, maybe 10 activists in Ferguson, Missouri, who are either dead or missing, that went dead or missing under Barack Obama and Joe Biden's administration. And it isn't going to be the people in Afghanistan, because didn't Trump or Biden say he was going to scrap that deal and go back into Afghanistan? Didn't he say that? It isn't going to be our economy because, well, we saw what happened last time. Remember, Joe Biden said it was his plan that Barack Obama put out there, that stimulus plan that bailed out Wall Street and left Main Street hanging. We're little wee-wees in our hand. Who is surviving? Because Marianne, not everybody was fortunate enough to be fucking Oprah's shaman. And a lot of us, even fewer, are lucky enough to be Oprah. Yeah, we got bills to pay. That's a huge part of why everybody wanted actually somebody who's going to care. But now, I don't know where. Listen, y'all. I know a lot of people stand on a lot of different places regarding the COVID situation and how it's being handled. But there's one thing for certain and two things for sure. Joe Biden has made it clear he wants a mask mandate and he doesn't want to open anything. And he's not offering a stimulus package. There was nothing up in his plan that talked about a stimulus package. Nothing really in his plan to talk about what he's going to do to stimulate the economy. So what exactly is survival when you're going to be homeless in a few days? What is that? Listen, Marianne, look, I'm glad that you're happy that, you white elites are going to survive and life will go back to normal. Y'all get to like how people walk over homeless people on the street and pretend like they don't exist. That's basically how the people of color of this world and black people are treated by white liberals. Hell, I'm treated like that. Maybe less so now because I'm so goddamn loud that people can't ignore me anymore. But I remember when people were telling me they didn't even know I was part of the DNC fraud lawsuit, even though Jared and Liz did their damnedest to give me as much credit as possible. Because, well, that black kid can't get no credit for something like that, because then people might start expecting us to get some stuff done. People might start expecting us to put some money where our mouth is. They might start expecting us to put some skin in the game. So I have it on. I mean, after I had an audience, was jumped by 6 cops, had my rotator cuff torn, shoulder dislocated, put in the hospital, trapped in the hospital by a group of police officers, then had the records that I was in the hospital erased so nobody would ever know I was there, which would make a lawsuit very, very difficult to complete, don't you think? That was not in 1960. That was in 18? Maybe 2017, but I'm pretty sure 2018. And I barely survived that. Luck, my friend went to jail, so I could survive that because he kept making sure to tell them to put away their guns. And my city is ran by Democrats. So what exactly are we surviving? I'm confused. Look, then we got Crystal Ball. Congrats, President-elect Joe Biden. What? First of all, no, he's not president-elect yet. There's a highly contentious race. Still, there's a bunch of lawsuits going on. Bunch of them. I don't know where is she getting this information from? In fact, this is what's interesting. I didn't ever think I would see this, but Twitter actually corrected Crystal. They said official sources may not have called the race when this was tweeted. Even still, even if they did call the race, what the hell? Why, Crystal? For what? You're congratulating. You know he cheated, Bernie. You know the establishment worked to. Man, you know what's crazy? I just wish that Tara Reid could be sitting beside Crystal in the studio. And Crystal enthusiastically yells, "Congrats, presidential-elect Joe Biden." That's where we're at. Because even though I personally didn't support either of them, you know, obviously I feel like fundamentally Joe Biden is much worse for our democracy and for people of color overseas because, well, Donald Trump is an incompetent imperialist and Joe Biden is a very, very competent imperialist. I don't get censored for criticizing Donald Trump. I get censored for criticizing Joe Biden, the Democratic establishment. And even though I might feel like it's less damage for Trump to just get done with his 4 years and get the fuck out, you don't hear me congratulating Donald Trump. I didn't congratulate him in 2016. I laughed at the Democrats. I definitely laughed at Democrats. I laughed so hard at them tears. But Crystal has been complaining and talking about how Joe Biden just ain't shit, while saying she's still going to vote for him anyway. Which, once again, I still get confused about that because why tell people that you're voting for him? Why? Like, what, as a journalist, what does that do? Is that supposed to be your insulation? To make sure that people don't think you're voting for Trump? Because you can't just let the facts and your objective reporting be where people make their judgment. It has to be, oh, I have to let people know I'm not voting for Trump. Not that I have to let people know that this system is what gave us Trump and this system is what is potentially stealing this election and giving it to Biden. And that we need to dismantle this system. And that is where my reporting is coming from and my analysis is coming from. But your analysis is, yeah, I'm saying all this stuff, but I'm still voting for Biden. What exactly what do you get out of that other than protection? To say, oh, I'm still going to vote for Trump. Or for Biden, excuse me, but I'm just saying. This type of stuff is wild to me. Like, you say all this about Trump. You even covered the Tara Reid situation. I was very appreciative of that. A lot of people were. I'm sure Tara herself was, but now it's congratulations, Mr. Segregationist Rapist, sir? I don't think that works. As Jimmy says, I don't know how you square that circle. Italian Stallion. Ha 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 ha. I like that name. It is like watching Palpatine win an election against Dooku. And being cheered because Dooku was hated so much. When Biden said He is the Democratic Party. I thought of I Am the Senate scene. It's funny that you say that because I literally thought the exact same thing. He literally said that. Oh man, nah, this whole election right now is playing out like the end of the second episode, or the end of episode 2 and episode 3 of Star Wars. Because if you remember, Palpatine had brought in Dooku, and Dooku was under the impression that he was the activist, right? He thought he was against the establishment. Dooku really believed that. He was a separatist. He like Trump, right? And Trump was doing all the establishment's bidding for the most part, while, cutting around the edges, claiming to be anti-establishment. And got a bunch of other people who thought they were doing the same thing to join him. And in the moment he became useless, that was it. That was it. So I don't know what these people are talking about. Like, I don't know why. I guess maybe is it just because, like, on principle? Is it because I'm genuinely I can't say someone is a segregationist. I can't acknowledge that someone has been credibly accused of rape and sexual assault, not once, not twice, but multiple times, and then say congratulations for being the most powerful person in the world. I can't do that. Maybe I'm just hard-headed. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just obtuse, or maybe consistency has become so rare in our political discourse that when you are principled and consistent, we seem like the crazy ones. We seem like the grifters for saying the same thing for year after year. I remember they used to say that about Chris Hedges. They used to say that about Chris Hedges for a while. Forever. Remember when Chris Hedges used to say, he used to tell the truth about Bernie, and he was, back then, he was a little bit more polite about it. But he was like, look, man, he's not going to fight. And I never attacked him for it, but I was always skeptical. I'm like, are you sure, man? Why would, he knows he's won. He can't possibly think that the Democratic establishment is going to give him anything. Why wouldn't he fight? Poor people donated to him dollars that they didn't even have. Not really, People gave up their jobs not to work for him, to volunteer for him. They gave up their income to volunteer for him. And Chris Hedges was right for decades about Bernie. And people thought he was the crazy one, and now look at what's happened. Chris Hedges is back on top. And he's an inspiration, honestly. Because people will treat you like you're the crazy one when you're consistent. Because they go where the wind blows. That's what happens, right? But speaking of winning, or lack thereof, let's talk about Biden's impending potential victory. So I don't know if you all have heard, but Joe Biden has not only potentially won the popular vote, but set the record for the popular vote. He set the record for the popular vote by beating Obama, the first black president, the guy who got 90% of the black vote, which had never been done in the history of anything before, except for maybe in Africa, where everybody's black. Now, that's not 4 million votes and stop. It's 4 million votes and counting, because they're literally still counting ballots. So by the time this is all said and done, Joe Biden could get upwards of 5 million more votes than Barack Hussein Obama, the most popular president in the history of this country. Still, as horrible as he was, he is still, by every single metric, the most popular president in the history of this country. Did y'all know that? I know, it makes me vomit every single day, but that's neither here nor there. Now, this is where things get interesting. You know that's a red flag, right? Yeah, it's a red flag. I'm explaining to you why it's a red flag. It's a red flag because that makes 0 sense. Now, I know what you're going to say, because y'all motherfuckers have literally been... Stop going to Twitter. If you're going to argue with me, I really do enjoy the discussion. I really do. I like going back and forth with people. It keeps me sharp and all that good stuff. But if you're going to debate like somebody who's literally dedicated half of his political career to discussing election integrity and looking at metrics and finding inconsistencies and ballot counts and registrations and things like that, maybe not get your talking points from Twitter, because those motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about, because they've literally not paid attention to anything until like 2 years ago. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get all that out the way. Now, second of all, I know what you're going to say. Well, we have more mail-in ballots than ever before. We have more mail-in ballots than ever before. And absentee ballots. That sounds good. Okay, cool. We also have a higher turnout because everybody is so mad at to just riled up. Okay, that's cool. And guess what? All of that shit is completely and totally irrelevant. Did you realize? I don't know if you know that. Those points are dumb. They're dumb. They don't make any sense in this context. And I'm going to explain why. So Biden beat Obama by 4 million votes and counting, set this crazy record that no one ever expected. Now, let's not talk about the fact that he's a racist segregationist. So nobody was really all that excited about voting for him. But let's talk about the fact that he literally didn't do anything else that Obama did when he won by such a ridiculous margin. See, before Bernie Sanders, Barack Obama set the record for individual donations in the primary and then subsequently set the record for most individual donations in the general election. Joe Biden didn't even come close. Oh, but wait, there's more. See, Barack Obama, when he broke the record, won back a supermajority in the House, a filibuster-proof Senate, and mayoral races and gubernatorial races and state legislatures across the country. Across the entire country. Now, this isn't new, by the way. This is generally what happens when people set records. Now, when it comes to Biden, contradictory to what we know about elections, Joe Biden somehow lost seats in the House. Somehow. Joe Biden somehow lost seats in the Senate. Not only that, but there's not been a single gubernatorial race to speak of that people are excited about. Like, there's not been no Democrat. Now, there have been some progressives that have won, and it's kind of weird. There have been some progressives that have won across the country. Now, they're going to be going to the House, but there are other seats that have been lost in the House, so it kind of it offsets that. So, somehow, some progressives have benefited from the high turnout, but the establishment didn't. That's super weird. Now, think about this. They are saying that Joe Biden had a ridiculously high turnout. A turnout that in all likelihood, to be frank, just isn't true. And want to know how we can use this race? Just look at this race. Because who also broke Obama's record was Donald Trump. Trump actually broke his record this go around. Broke Obama. And now there's a higher population and all that good stuff, but nah, damn all that. Because once again, that logic could be applied to Joe Biden, and then you have to once again wonder why. Nothing else. No, the Democrats didn't get any of the benefits of Joe Biden breaking this record. Joe Biden didn't even break the record for the percentage of turnout like Obama did. He's falling short of it. So let's look at Trump. Trump also broke Obama's record this year. Trump also took back seats in the House because his turnout was so high. He also took a couple of seats back so far in the Senate because his turnout was so high. So one person broke the record and is potentially going to be the president-elect, but the Democrats didn't benefit from it in any sense, to the point where they're now questioning whether or not they'll allow Nancy Pelosi to continue being the Speaker of the House because they considered this an abysmal failure. But Trump, who is losing right now, managed to get more seats in the House, get a couple more seats in the Senate. And oh, by the way, this is the most just bizarre shit that, I mean, I'm not even joking. This is crazy to me. Do y'all know that Trump has improved his turnout in every single demographic except for white men? I'm going to say that again. Trump improved his demographic against with black people, with black men and women, with Latino men and women, with Southeast Asian men and women. Across the board. He is doing the best with black voters since the Republicans did what in I think it was 60 something? 1960 is the last time we've ever seen anything like this. In the era of BLM, in the era of highly contentious race relations, Trump broke the record, or he's currently on track to break the record. Excuse me, for people of color voting for a Republican president, and I think that he might have broke it for people of color voting for a Republican incumbent. Like you don't win the office and then, like as a Republican, and then get more people of color voting for you. That never happens. But it happened. Now, that makes sense considering he took more seats in the House. That makes sense considering he took more seats in the Senate. That makes sense considering he also broke Obama's record. So why is it that when Trump breaks Obama's record in the same exact race, he gets all of the metrics and measurements and benefits that substantiate the claim that he did in fact break these records? But Biden breaks the records. I mean, it's just crushing Obama's records, but the Democrats have received zero benefits from that. And once again, you are wondering why people are skeptical. Right? You shouldn't be wondering. This is why. Because this is logic. This is like, let me see if I can find my tweets that I did. See if I can find those right quick. So you can see, I know some people like reading stuff. I did it very simple. And it's weird because people keep asking me to say, but what about mail-in ballots? What about mail-in ballots? Bruh, stop. Y'all literally don't even know how mail-in ballots are counted. So like, they're not counted the way y'all are thinking they are counted. They're not counted nor reported in that way. Let me get this. All right. So So this is my tweets about this, in case you just want to go back and retweet it, so you can educate your friends and family on, using logic. This is just basic logic in history, in patterns of electoral politics. I said the fact that Biden got more votes than Obama, 4 million and counting, should have been a red flag. Obama had to secure 90% of the black vote, which is something that had never been done until that point for obvious reasons. He also had the highest individual donor count in presidential history, which translated to winning the White House and winning the House and a filibuster-proof Senate that he literally did nothing with except for made the banks bigger with Dodd-Frank and bailed out Wall Street with, while your friends and family got evicted. By the way, that was Joe Biden's plan, as he loves reminding us. How is Biden literally crushing Obama, but is not hitting any other mark? He didn't beat him in turnout percentage, actually lost seats in the House, and isn't getting the Senate. That's not how any of this works. Look at history. And we can even look at 2016 when Trump didn't even win the popular vote, but he still had a shitload of energy behind his campaign, which translated to taking the House and the Senate, along with winning gubernatorial races for the GOP across the country. This isn't complicated. Now, this is some of the pushback that completely ignores everything I'm saying, but whatever, we'll read some of the comments. Doesn't the amount of voter increase over election cycle, every election cycle, I think that's what they mean. You can see going back to the early 1900s, there's really an increase in the amount of people voting as population increases, especially when you compare 12 years apart. Yeah, has nothing to do with what I just said. No, once again, this is exercising logic. That would be cool, except for then if that's the case, then why didn't that happen in 2016? Or, that was a pretty popular election, highly contentious. And also, yeah, that's cool, but if you broke that kind of record, why didn't you get the House and the Senate? Or at least make it close in the House, like in the Senate. At least make it closer. But you're moving backwards. You're losing seats in the House and you're losing seats in the Senate and losing mayoral races across the country and losing gubernatorial races across the country and state legislative races across the country. So there we go. Debunk that nonsense. Population growth, once again, completely ignores literally all the other contexts. So did Trump, that has to do with population growth over time? Hillary also got more than Obama. I don't think Hillary didn't get more than Obama. So I don't know where that comes from. So just this person, Jenny, was actually saying not last time, but Trump got more than Obama this year, which is true. But once again, that also makes sense considering what? Trump got seats back in the House for the GOP and got seats back in the Senate. You get it? You see the pattern here? All right, let's continue. Once again, this is the shit I'm dealing with. This is, y'all see why I get frustrated? People just use the same talking point like, motherfucker, I took the time to think about and research all that shit. And you're going to come to me with the population growth? You don't think one single goddamn time I thought to myself, man, maybe I should factor in population growth over 12-year past. Nah. Don't be these people. Okay, anyway. There are almost 20 million more people in the U.S. since 2012. Also, so babies vote? Undocumented immigrants vote? People who just come here because they're on a temporary visa vote? No, that's not how any of this works. No, once again. All right. Also, people die. So, Jenny probably is more accurate. There's no way that Biden got more votes than Obama. No fucking way. Obama was historic. Yes. Not for the right reasons, but he was. Look at this. There's 25 million more people. These people, bro. They don't even try. It's so frustrating. They don't even try to be original. Let me get a couple of these super chats before we get back to it. So Sergeant Holdy Damn Democrats could have easily won without circumventing the will of the people via obvious cheating with a better candidate. Don't even get me started on that, broski. I agree 100%. I think I missed. Did I miss one? It's not showing up. What did it say? Oh, there we go. Adam, thank you very much for the super chat. Blue no matter who is an illogical argument built on a false dichotomy, feeding an identitarian ego with. But I agree 100%. So let's get back to this. So this person is asking the right questions. Can we check exit polling data? Those are the questions that we should be asking right now. Don't try to act like you know more about something you actually know because you saw somebody on Twitter said it and you're like, oh man, that sounds pretty logical. It definitely confirms my bias, the same bias that I had coming into this. So like, no, this is what you should be doing. Asking questions. Now, this person said that from where I see it, voter participation is up since seeing the protests this year. Okay, glad they mentioned that. Since seeing the protests this year, but more black people voted for Trump than any other Republican since the 1960s. So now, mind you, this is the Abolish ICE protest, the Defund the Police protest, the BLM protest, all protests that I feel like are inextricably linked to people of color and black people. I think you all would agree with that. Okay, cool. So then why did more go to him this time around? Yeah. Yeah. You get the discrepancies here? Okay. It says that more first time and new voters coming of age. Yeah, that happens every election. Okay. In an age of multiple mass shootings, police violence in the time. Okay, so once again, we go back to what? More people of color and black people voted for Trump than any other time since the 1960s when we're talking about Republicans. So that's all. Doesn't really. I like this guy. I love you. It's like you're the only sane person on Twitter. I beg to differ. I would say that the convo couch and people who watch this show are also sane. But we are becoming a dying breed, I will admit. This person said, I mean, they did push the vote every hour of every day. Once again, yeah, and Trump benefited from that too. And so did the GOP in the House and the Senate across the country. Yeah, okay. Population group, listen, bro, this is the easy way to explain. No, it's that these people, they're lazy, bro. They're lazy. They're lazy. I don't know what else to say, but they're lazy. This is laziness. The answer to your question is propaganda and manufactured consent. Okay, so let's okay, Germany hit, you know, the mail-in ballots was coming. Population growth, early mail-in, fear, and hate. And it sounds all good for like a movie commercial or something like that. Population growth, we debunked. Early and mail-in ballots. Okay, let's discuss early and mail-in ballots. What the hell does that have to do with the fact that Trump won seats in the House and 1 seat in the Senate, and Biden, although mail-in ballots this election, as we are constantly reminded, overwhelmingly favor Democrats? How did those mail-in ballots turn into 100,000 votes spikes in the case of Biden, literally overnight, but didn't turn into 15,000 votes here in this city, 20,000 votes here in this city, 100,000 votes here in this Senate race, 100,000 votes here in this Senate race, to put the Democrats over the top? It's almost if they knew that if they cheated a Republican senator in the same way that they were attempting to cheat in favor of Biden, then Trump would have more of a leg to stand on, and that Republican who's about to lose their office would probably take Trump's side, and they will work together to expose the fraud that may have taken place in that particular race. Because That's how Senate races work. You all understand it. This the entire state basically votes on Senate races. There's a lot of votes for Senate races. Millions, usually, depending on the state. Usually the bigger states get millions of votes for Senate races. Millions. So if you saw 100,000 votes spike in any given state for Biden, then you would have more than likely seen 100,000 votes spike in any given state. If you're going to use mail-in ballots as a justification, then you would have more than likely seen 100,000 vote spike for the Democrat in that particular Senate race. Did we see that, ladies and gentlemen? The answer is no, we did not. Okay. Italian Stein, thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you for covering this. The lack of seat switching confuses me too. Did the country vote red down ballot and then vote blue for president? I just can't see that. Thought I was going crazy thinking that. You are absolutely not going crazy. You're just remembering history. That's it. Conveniently, exit polls are a thing of the past. That's what they're treating them like anyway. That's what they're treating them like. Let's see if somebody else makes a legitimate argument. Okay. Deepak Subramaniam. Remove Biden from the equation, which you literally cannot do because he's running for president, but that's not here nor there. Remove Biden from the equation and replace with anti-Trump vote. Okay. I think with coronavirus, this was bound to happen. What? Doesn't really address anything I said, but okay. The margin should have been higher, but Biden is uninspiring and shitty, so it ended up close. Without COVID, Biden would have zero chance. That's the only thing in that entire tweet that made sense to me. But that doesn't really address anything. So I have a question. Do people just comment under my post to just say things that sound smart so other people agree with them, but like never actually have to address anything I said in the tweet? Because I feel like we're not talking to each other. I'm talking and you're talking to somebody fucking else talking about something completely different. That's what I feel like. It's not even talking past each other. We're not even in the same room. We're not having the same conversation. That's what I'm getting. Maybe I'm crazy. Who knows? Could just be an asshole, which is possible. I'm an asshole. So let's see if anybody else makes some kind of decent point. Meh. I think it can be explained by the higher amounts of voter turnout, polarization on the blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this person argued polarization. Okay. Polarization meaning what? People voting down party lines. People voting down party lines means what? If the Democrat gets more votes, especially when they're breaking records, then the House gets more votes, the Senate gets more votes, the mayors get more votes, the governors get more votes, state legislators get more votes, except that's not what happened at all. I don't understand what's hard to comprehend about this. It's like they didn't read my damn tweet. It's okay though. It's okay. Population growth. This person got a Janice. Biden's primary win is also suspicious. 100%. And people took the time for some reason to link the fact that there is a population growth. Like, I don't know what it's like to be alive in a world where people are born every single day. But okay. And I just responded with this. I'm not questioning the possibility of a dramatic voter increase. I'm questioning the legitimacy of a candidate setting records and his party receiving zero benefits across the board regarding all of the other races in the country. It just doesn't happen. All right. So as you can see, nobody, and I mean nobody, has a genuine point to make here. Nobody's made a good point. Nobody in the entire goddamn. I don't know what I don't know what to do anymore. I'm talking. I'm saying things in facts in words. I'm giving them the facts. What do I do, y'all? I don't know what to do anymore. What do I do? We can't even use the facts anymore. We can't even use the facts anymore. I don't know what to say. When the facts are right there and they won't even listen to the fucking facts, what are you supposed to do? Glory, Glory. What the hell? Why aren't you a moderator anymore? Oh, okay. Appreciate the super chat as usual, my friend. I think people in their feelings thinking that this is a right-wing issue need to realize that because we despise both, we can see past the partisan narratives. Exactly, Glory. Spot on as usual. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I'm like, this dude named Jeff Campbell. His at is Jeff Miami. And by the way, Jeff, if you keep mentioning me on Twitter, I'm going to copyright, or excuse me, no, what's the phrase? Trademark. I'm gonna trademark my Twitter handle. That's what I'm gonna do. I wonder if you can do that. Ooh, that's a good question. I need to trademark my Twitter handle because every time Jeff mentions my damn name and mentions Fiorella's name, like I'm gonna just start charging him and everybody who retweets him, so we can get royalties, so we can fund this movement. Because Lord knows, I've never lived this rent-free in somebody's head. I know some of you thinking, well, what about your wife? Nope, my wife pays the price every single day for me being in her head. But these people are weird. But there's an argument that we're actually grifters because we're talking about election fraud. The same election fraud that we were talking about in 2016 and 2017, in 2018, in 2019, and in 2020, and we'll be talking about in 2021, the same election fraud that we were talking about when Tulsi introduced the Secure American Elections Act, the same fraud that I uncovered while helping Tim Canova in 2018 in his general election race, the same election fraud that I started a DNC fraud lawsuit over and went homeless over to pursue. The same election fraud that I gave up law school to pursue and investigate. The same election fraud that made me an albatross to the Bernie Sanders campaign, and basically I had to drop my the organization that I founded and let someone else take over because I didn't want the drama to be brought in, but I knew that this is something that had to be pursued. The same election fraud that in Iowa, Fiorella uncovered and broke the news, that ended up being national news. The same election fraud that Pasta and Fiorella and Johnny have uncovered in California. We've been talking about this over and over and over and over and over again. Did y'all thought we were going to just stop talking about it because your grift now requires for you to kiss Joe Biden's old white, pasty, dry, mummy, dusty ass? No, that's not how being principled and consistent works when you actually care about outcomes that benefit everybody in the country, not just your little leftist grifting bank account. And also, it's a little bit harder to argue about black people getting scrubbed off the voter rolls, which is traditionally what the Republicans do whenever Trump somehow got a goddamn record of black voters. Because usually we do get scrubbed. So unless y'all are going to make the simultaneous claim that Republicans started busing in black people and undocumented immigrants to go and commit voter fraud, which you're not going to say, because one, it's not true, but two, that's not a leftist narrative, so you couldn't possibly touch that. Unless you're going to say that, then you can't say that the Republicans equally rigged the outcome of this election. Equally. They definitely tried it, I'm sure. But you can't say that they equally rigged the outcome of the election while simultaneously Trump got all of the votes that Republicans have been known to steal or take away by erasing them from the voter rolls. This isn't complicated, people. It's only complicated if you have some skin in the game, or no. It's only complicated if your clout in your bank account is what is going to be affected by the outcome of this race. That's the only way that it's complicated. It's only complicated if you're reliant on the victory of the Democratic Party. I'm just saying. So, with that being said, we are halfway through the show. We're a little bit under halfway through the show. Please consider supporting us by becoming a patron on Patreon, becoming a Rockfin premium member on Rockfin, and or donating through us through Cash App. You can click on the Linktree link in the description below, or scan it with your phone on TV. And of course, I want to, because we are a little bit, we have more people here now. I want to go ahead and give another shout out to all of our new Rockfin Premium subscribers from literally yesterday. So we have Tom Ferguson. These are our Rockfin Premium subscribers. Tom Ferguson, Jeff Menard, Justin Lips Watson, Allison Oliver, Craig Brill, Eric Anderson, Will Langston, Basil Orichwa, Cynthia Henry, Barbara Boyd, I Am Endorsed, Keith, Darren Kennedy, Oliver Militscher, Alexander Kagan, Catherine Ann McCloskey, Tim Cook, Lane Cook, Greg Ladal, I'm dyslexic apparently, Hector Villeda, and Antonio Picarillo. Thank you all so much for your Rockfin premium subscription. Don't forget, we have our Rockfin show every Thursday from 5 p.m. Eastern to about 7 p.m. Eastern, give or take. And if you are a Rockfin premium member, you will absolutely be able to get that show. But now, let's move on to Wisconsin. Oh yeah. We got some news. We got some breaking news. I caught them doing a little thingy thing, y'all. I caught them doing some things that I don't think they know that was going to be seen, but they ended up getting seen because I saw it. All right. Now, real quick. Oh, let me fix this. So yesterday, I know some of you all may have saw on Rockfin Premium or may have seen me briefly discuss it. But I came across this article that eventually ended up going viral. That it was from a local Milwaukee paper that used the Secretary of State as a resource to show that there was clearly more voters than registered voters. Right? More voters than people who are actually registered and able to vote legally. Now here, this article, as you can see, I want to make sure everybody sees this part because it's what everybody's going to complain about. November 4th, 2020. Okay? November 4th, 2020. So now everybody sees that. Cool. So yesterday, this is the part that was interesting. Yesterday, guess what happened? All of a sudden, people, there was, let me make this as big as possible so y'all can see this shit. I need y'all to see this. All of a sudden, they decided to do an update after the article went viral. The Secretary of State went and did an update. But this was before the update. And luckily, I had this weird feeling that yeah, this is a red flag, right? This is what we would call a smoking gun of smoking guns. When your local Milwaukee-based publication uses the Secretary of State's website to expose something that looks a little bit like election fraud, people. Okay? Now, look at these numbers. You see voting Ward 274. You see 640 registered voters. Not too crazy. All right. Oh, 688 votes for Biden. Hold up. What? Wait a minute. Where my glasses at? Maybe my glass might be in the room. I don't know. But make sure I'm not reading that wrong. That does say 688 votes for Biden, but only 600 registered voters. Well, damn. That must mean Trump got negative 80. Oh, no, he got 602, which would make a total of 1,290, which would make the turnout 202%. Oh, okay. Now, in Ward 273, 634 voters. Okay. But Biden got 672 of those 674 voters, or 634, voters. Okay, and Trump got 600 of those 634 voters, which would bring that vote count to 1,272, which brings the turnout to 201%. Now, here we go again, because now everybody thinks we're all stupid. Like we don't account for these things. We gotta go back to the date. What does this say? Once again, this says November the 4th, as in not November the 3rd, as in the day after, the day following, the day subsequent to November the 3rd. In other words, these are votes that were accounted for after same day registration was factored in. Interesting. Now, let me see if I can bring this back up. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna try to bring up the article. That I was looking at yesterday. Found it. So when I was literally while I was live with Whitney Webb yesterday, they made a change to everything out of nowhere. I was like, wow, that's crazy. This literally never happens, but okay. Because somebody clearly made a phone call, people. Because now it's updated. It was updated literally after the article went viral. Now there's an editor's note that should be looked at. And they made sure so you know that it wasn't the fault of their own that somebody made a phone call. Because it says right here, editor's note. After the original version of this story was published November 4th at 3:09 p.m., they wanted to make sure you knew that because it's important. I'm going to tell you why. The county updated their voter registration data on their data portal and updated voting tallies for precincts. The one that was wrong, 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 and the one that was wrong. The most up-to-date data is available here. Okay. Let's see what the up-to-date data looks like. This is literally yesterday, right before I did my live show. So let's see what this new data looks like. Okay. So now they've decided to organize it by turnout, it looks like. Yeah, they're organizing it by turnout instead of precinct. Okay. It's still from the Secretary of State. But all of the sudden, once again, people, you saw the editor's note. This is as of November the 5th, ladies and gentlemen. That means the day after the 4th or the 3rd. So this is the day after the 3rd. Okay, we gotta get this right. The chronological order of this is important. Now, what did I just tell y'all? Now there's 1,029 registered voters. Okay, well that maybe that makes sense, right? If it's the day after, maybe they just hadn't gotten all the votes turned in. And all the registered voters turned in. Okay, but Biden, let's go to 272. 1,190. Biden has 512 votes and 500. Hold up. That's not what I saw. Look at it. That's not what we saw. That don't make no sense. Let me bring this back up. Hold up. Let me just make sure we're not crazy. Gonna bring this right over. Yeah. Somebody want to tell me what's wrong with this picture, ladies and gentlemen? Because this is saying as of November the 5th that there are more, only, not even by much, 70 more registered voters, 73 more registered voters, right? So 73 more, but Joe Biden's vote count goes down from 772 to 512. And then Trump goes down to from 567 to 633 to 567. This is Milwaukee, for those of you who are curious. Do you all see a problem with this? This. Do you see a problem here? Ward 273. Now there are only 671 registered voters, 313 votes for Biden, and 290 votes for Trump. But yes, the day before that, they said there was actually 634 registered voters, but 672 Biden votes, with 600 votes for Trump. So the day after they count the votes, the day after they updated what was already in the system, everyone lost votes, people. Now, do you think that there is reason to be a little skeptical of these results when, in chronological order, you go from November 3rd to November 4th, there's a 200% turnout. November 4th to November 5th, you update that 200% turnout, and that results in less votes for everybody? Interesting. And do you know what's most interesting about this? And this is the one connection that literally no one else has made. That was updated November 5th, 3:57 Eastern Standard. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they already call Wisconsin based off of the Secretary of State's website and gave it to Biden before that update? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? They called the state for Biden based off of the Secretary of State's numbers with a 200% voter turnout, and then updated it after the state was called for Biden and Trump both lost votes, which means that they literally use false numbers to call the state for Biden. And once again, no one thinks that this is a problem. But let's keep pretending as if no one has any reason to be skeptical. Let's keep pretending as if this is some right-wing conspiracy. Let's keep pretending as if our lying eyes are deceiving us. There is something here. There is every reason to be skeptical. And once again, it should never be forgotten that, I don't know, maybe the chair of the election commission in Wisconsin, Ann Jacobs, is a Democrat who literally endorsed Joe Biden. So the next time people keep saying, because this is the issue that everybody was talking about, but I think that there wasn't any, it wasn't put in such a concise manner that people were like, no, that's not true. Look, the registered voter count in Wisconsin is this, and the amount of votes is this. And so, no, there weren't more. No, that's not what was being said. Now we know what they really meant was in Milwaukee, which is in Wisconsin, there were more voters than registered voters. There were more votes than registered voters in multiple wards by thousands. By thousands. And the state was called for Biden, while the official numbers were literally wrong. So who wants to argue with that shit? Who wants to argue with me about that? I love to hear it. Because if you think Putin can hack the entire US election from a phone in order to cheat for Donald Trump to beat Hillary Clinton, and you think that there's just no possibility the Democrats would cheat to beat Donald Trump, even though they've shown the propensity to cheat Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, Jill Stein, which, by the way, this is funny, but I don't know if you all are familiar with Jill Stein's election integrity lawsuit, but the lawsuits were coincidentally in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee County, Michigan, in Wayne County, which is where Detroit is, and Pennsylvania. And at least in Pennsylvania, where they didn't completely and totally block her, that is also the state where Jill Stein's lawsuit led to voting machines, and I can't remember what county it was, but voting machines had to get switched over to mandatory paper ballots. Yeah. So this is where we're at, people. This is where we're at. Somebody call Evo Morales to come fix this shit. Somebody call Nicolas Maduro to come fix this shit. Please. Because whenever we saw stuff like this happening, it wasn't even anything like this, by the way. But when we claimed stuff like this was happening in Venezuela and especially in Bolivia, we tried to initiate a coup in Venezuela. Didn't work all that well. Did successfully initiate a coup in Bolivia. But Evo Morales was so confident in Bolivia's electoral system that he helped to put together, by the way, that he was like, I'm just going to sit back and watch the magic work and watch what happens. Oh, we won again. Bitch, get out of my country. That's what took place in Bolivia. So maybe Evo Morales needs to come interfere with our election. I don't know. But don't listen to these people trying to gaslight you, bro. Don't listen to these people telling you not to believe your lying eyes. Oh, man, no, you're just crazy. Oh, you're just a Trump supporter. No. Not a Trump supporter. I care about fair elections because I know, as I've been telling people. I used to talk about Russiagate all the time. I say, you know what bothers me about Russiagate? Because if they're using this against Trump, okay, to squash establishment opposition. It isn't really about Trump. It's about squashing establishment opposition. And I said that the problem is they're going to use it against Bernie. And what did they do during the election? They used it against Bernie. And Bernie fed into it even more so. Glory, thank you very much for the super chat. Way ahead of you, Niko already declared Steve Poikonen interim president. I can get down with that. All right, Steve, you're the president now. Go handle business. Just make sure when you try to get people to commit a coup on live YouTube streams, like Juan Guaido thought was smart to do, that you hold your phone fucking landscape. For the love of God, do not hold it portrait full screen or I'm impeaching your ass. Don't even get me started on that. Juan Guaido was never going to be a good president when he out here like, hey, everybody, we just out here, chilling, trying to commit a coup out here in front of the presidential palace. Y'all like, show up if you got time, but don't got to if you don't. Hashtag U.S. imperialism always wins. Hashtag white guys for imperialism. Like, don't do that, Steve, because I will impeach your ass. Okay, with that being said, we got one more topic to cover real quick. Is what a lot of us was warning was going to happen, and it indeed is happening, unfortunately. So, this is a clip by our man Case Study QB. Let's check it out. Oops. Okay, now we're gonna check it out.
But at this point, Joe Biden may be the only candidate on the list of all the Democrats who are running for president who can bring the country together, because he's worked with Mitch McConnell before. He's worked alongside these people. He has worked with them for decades. And it might just be exactly what Washington needs to get over this far extreme on each side problem.
Yeah, really, if you look at the map, if you look how this election turns out, it becomes extremely clear to me, as clear as it was that the Florida polls were off and the other polls were off. It becomes threading the needle and getting elected president this year. And even that depended on Donald Trump botching the worst pandemic in over 100 years.
Yeah, and look how thin the line is right now, even for Joe Biden, a centrist. So yeah, to your point, a lot of progressive candidates might not have gotten over this line. Bernie Sanders, namely.
Hold on, we're gonna play that back, y'all, because we had so for some reason the video froze. So let's try this one more again.
But at this point, can bring the country together, because he's worked with Mitch McConnell before. He's worked alongside these people. He has worked with them for decades. And it might just be exactly what Washington needs to get over this far extreme on each side problem.
Yeah, and Willie, if you look at the map, if you look how this election turns out, it becomes extremely clear to me, as clear as it was that the Florida polls were off and the other polls were off. It becomes extremely clear to me, reading the data, that Joe Biden was the only Democrat capable of threading the needle and getting elected president this year. And even that depended on Donald Trump botching the worst pandemic in over 100 years.
Yeah, and look how thin the line is right now, even for Joe Biden, a centrist. So yeah, to your point, a lot of progressive candidates might not have gotten over this line. Bernie Sanders, namely. By the way, Mike Barnicle, again, delinquent on his.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Threading the needle? Threading the needle? So first of all, we're going to really pretend like Biden, like we would trust Biden with the needle in his hand. Like, I don't think that's safe for somebody like Biden. He would literally not be able to see the hole to thread the needle. But that's a different discussion from a different day. I mean, the dude's always squinting. Like, the dude's Botox is so bad. He's literally always squinting. Listen here, you dog face, pony sniffing, crack smoking. Okay, where the fuck do we start? Excuse my language. What the hell are they talking about? What are they talking about? And they talking about something the Florida polls were wrong. Didn't Trump win Florida? Did I miss something? Did Trump not win Florida? Did they flip that for him too? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not crazy. That might have happened. Okay, no. I was right. No, he didn't flip Florida. Okay. So I'm not crazy. So the polls weren't wrong for Florida. Didn't most of them say Trump's going to win? If I'm not mistaken. No, you're right. They couldn't cheat in Florida because Ron DeSantis is in charge of Florida. And, like, to be frank, this was always going to go to Trump. Like, there was nothing that Biden could have done in Florida because they down here they ride out for Trump. It's not a game for them out here. Nice people, by the way. Usually, whenever I interact with them, engage with them, they're pretty cool. But this is what people that's what they voted for. This is what they cheered for. You know that, right? This is what people who told you to capitulate. This is what they were aiming. This is what they got. They got and they're getting what they're voting for. There will be no criticisms of Joe Biden. There will only be justification for every war crime he commits. There will be no judgment. There will be no reconciliation. They won't even ask Biden to address his blatant history of racism. Like, it's right there on the damn internet. They won't ask him to address the corruption that he partook in the Ukraine. There is no, well, hold on. What about Russia? What about Russia? Even though Biden took millions of dollars from Russia. There will be none of that. There is no what about his relationship with China. What about Hunter Biden's relationship with China? Like, not for, that was for this election. Like, they were already anticipating what he's going to get when he takes office this time from Chinese oligarchs. All of a sudden it's, well, I know that Bernie Sanders was actually the most popular candidate in the history of the country by every metric. But even though that's the case, I don't think that he could have won this election. This is what happens when you legitimize an illegitimate election. This is what happens when you legitimize an illegitimate candidate. This is what happens when you validate an illegitimate primary process. This is what happens when, in a time where we're supposed to hold people accountable, you decide to kiss the ring. This is what happens. They've been waiting to say this for 5 years. They've been waiting for this. They've been counting down for this very moment. And not only are they being like just pompous about it, but they know as well as we do that this election isn't legitimate. It isn't. It's okay. You could say it. And if anybody has a problem with it, like I said, just show them the last video we did, or show them the last clip. The segment will be up very, very shortly. I don't understand why you thought that giving the establishment everything they want meant that they'll finally listen to us. I don't get it. Why did you think that? Because I don't know if you've been seeing I've been listening to the rounds. I mean, CNN kissing Biden's ass, MSNBC kissing Biden's ass, throw progressives under the bus. Yeah, we told y'all. Yeah. I don't see anybody moving left. You see anybody moving left? You know what's crazy? I saw Jimmy did a video covering these polls that they were on Fox News. They asked about universal health care. 70% of Fox News viewers supported universal health care. About 60% actually acknowledge that there is a problem with racism in this country. It needs to be addressed. A lot of them even thought that we have a war problem in this country, an imperialist problem. So as the country, even the right, are moving left on every single issue, instead of fighting for those issues, instead of fighting for the people who champion those issues, people bent the knee and thought, Now we'll get them to move left. And then people like Mr. Joe Scarborough, like, yeah, I don't think a progressive could have run this race. I know that progressive policy is literally the most popular policies in the country, but like, that's irrelevant. Even right now, Social Security America's Elections Act, she looks like a damn prophet at this point. I mean, how many more times are we gonna have to say Tulsi was right on this video or on this channel? I never get tired of saying it. But Sparky, thank you very much for the super chat. If Biden drops out before the electors vote, they are then legally able to vote for Hillary or whom they please without being faithless. I don't think that's how it works. They have to be on the ballot, at least. They have to be a party nominee. But it's we knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen. We've been warning people. We warn and we warn and we scream from the rooftops, and people instead want to watch channels that confirm their biases and then cheer for their own demise, like Crystal Ball talking about congratulations, President-elect Biden. Instead of saying, bro, why are you happy? You lost voters of color. You lost poor and working class voters. You lost seats in the House. You lost seats in the Senate. There's nothing for you to be proud of. But no, it's congratulations. Man. Joe Biden, is anybody else going to happen to Julian Assange? The same thing that's going to happen under Trump, but maybe even faster. Maybe even faster. I feel so bad for that Ukrainian president. President Zelensky is about to get it, y'all. Do y'all understand that? President Zelensky tried to hold Joe Biden accountable, and the Obama administration accountable for everything that they engaged in. They're about to take this. They're going to take him out. Maduro and Bolivia's MAS party, it's about to get uglier for them. Afghanistan's about to be a war zone again. Let's look it up. Biden said it. Now those kids that were being thrown in those cages, no one's going to care anymore. And leftists are cheering for it. And people wonder why. I don't understand. Why do people hate you and Fiorella and Pasta and Johnny? And why do they always complain? Why do they hate you so much? Because we're not cheering for our own demise. And when we bring things to people's attention, think about it like this. It's different. Like Ben Norton, for example, does this. He says the same things I say. Max Blumenthal said the same things I say. Few progressives do, with much bigger followings. So why is it that when the people of color, or when the black people, like myself or Fiorella, or Ice Cube even, why isn't that when we speak out and say the same thing that somebody like Ben Norton would say, why is it that we are the ones who are attacked? Because we're the ones, if somebody's experiencing voting fraud, it's usually because black people are the ones experiencing, or brown people. We're the ones that primarily get deleted off voter rolls in Republican states, usually. If we're not satisfied, because we're actually the victims of Biden's policies. It's us. So if we're telling you from our experiences what we've dealt with, that the experiences that these grifters could not possibly comprehend, they could never even think about being in some of the positions that we've been in. Well, then once again, you have to judge based off of, well, who would I listen to? The person with the facts and the experience? Are the people who have clearly already pledged their loyalty to one person and one party, who are basing their conclusions, they're working backwards, from their conclusions. North American grade 8, you got folks in the street celebrating. Meanwhile, Assange is still in jail and censorship is getting ramped up, literally cheering for their own demise. 100%. You're absolutely right. I do got to say this though. I'm proud. I'm not really proud that a lot of black people voted for Trump, but I am very proud that they weren't bullied into voting for Biden. You had two people that where Ice Cube said you got a contract for Black America. One group said, fuck you, we'll talk to you after the election. The other one at least pretended that they would give us something in return. They answered the phone, they listened, they tweaked, they gave us the time of day. Even that, when you're, especially in the situation that black people have been in this country, we can work with that. So if you voted because of you personally voted because of your well-being, your self-interest, well, let's be honest, white people have been doing that for this entire the entire existence of this country. So it isn't bad when black people do it. If that's what determines your vote, then more power to you. I don't really trust Trump to follow through on any of that stuff. But Biden has shown us for 40 years where he stands. So there was no ambiguity there. Darren Levy, thank you very much for the super chat. Prediction: Biden will step down after midterms in 2022. AOC Sheepdog 2024 campaign: Kamala will be the Dems nominee, however, and lose to Trump in 2024. To Trump? That's an interesting. Sorry, that's man. If AOC Sheepdogs for Kamala, I'm not sure she can survive that. Like, she might survive it from the degree like she will still be a firebrand, but she'll never be the president because she'd be too easy to expose. So I don't think that she would do that. Like, and if she ever is put in a position where she's being uplifted like a Kamala, then it would be too obvious. And yeah, you might win in the primary because somebody cheated for you, but like, you're not going to win in the general. So but AOC, I think, is not. She just acts like a little kid in how she goes about her business. Like, she's very, very selfish in it, and she exudes it. The people, empaths, like actual empaths, that can sense when you're being genuine and when you're bullshitting. Empaths can see through it from a mile away. Every time she says the word "I" or uses adjectives that describe her specifically more than anything else. When she speaks, it's usually to defend herself or to defend or make herself look good defending somebody else. But even still, somehow she manages to make the conversation about her. So it is what it is, people. This is what we're dealing with. Y'all want to see that clip one more time for those of you who might be just joining us? Because it's crazy. Just go ahead.
But at this point, Joe Biden may be the only candidate on the list of all the Democrats who are running for president who can bring the country together, because he's worked with Mitch McConnell before. He's worked alongside these people. He has worked with them for decades. And it might just be exactly what Washington needs to get over this far extreme on each side problem.
Yeah, and Willie, if you look at the map, if you look how this election turns out, it becomes extremely clear to me, as clear as it was that the Florida polls were off and the other polls were off. It becomes extremely clear to me, reading the data, that Joe Biden was the only Democrat capable of threading the needle and getting elected president this year. And even that depended on Donald Trump botching the worst pandemic in over 100 years.
Yeah, and look how thin the line is right now, even for Joe Biden, a centrist. So yeah, to your point, a lot of progressive candidates might not have gotten over this line. Bernie Sanders, namely. By the way, Mike Barnicle again delinquent on his.
And there you have it, folks. Democracy dies in darkness, or as they said, Queen Amidala, Natalie Portman said in Star Wars Episode 3. Democracy dies in thunderous applause. That's where we're at. So let me give some shots real quick to our Rockfin people. Sarah Wagner, what's going on, Sarah? Said you just watched Bernie's Screed. I'm not sure what that means. I'm guessing it's some cringy celebration from Bernie. Michael Costelli, everyone should be talking about this and addressing election discrepancies. Thank you for being one to shed light on this. No problem. That's what we do here, baby. That's what we do. Independent Left News. Dude, I give you credit. You're one of the hardest working people in the business. Man, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Sparky, don't think that parties are in the Constitution, so I think it's possible the electors can vote for HRC if Biden drops out before they vote. I don't think that parties are in the Constitution, but I do think that the Electoral College may, like, there is a requirement that you have to at least be on the ballot. I think that that's like part of it, because you have to register with the FEC and do all this other stuff. And like, so there's like a minimum requirement to be legitimately considered a candidate. And I don't think that, now Hillary might have did that and like on some slick shit and we didn't know. So that's a possibility, but I just don't think that they're going to do Hillary. It just would be dumb. This is silly. Why are we still talking like we have options? We must dismantle the system by any means necessary. And I 100% agree with you. There's nothing to debate. We got to get rid of this system, or else we're never going. We're not going anywhere. We don't have much time left. I know people talking about climate change. Damn, climate change, bro. We're entering into the point of no return in everything. Not climate change. Everything. It isn't just that. Like, the cops are being armed to the teeth and then getting away with murdering Breonna Taylor. Like, a unit was created to gentrify her neighborhood. She was murdered. The cops got off. The DA claimed, the Attorney General claimed that the jury agreed with them that the cops didn't deserve to be prosecuted. And it turned out that that was a lie. The jury never had the option. They never had the option to prosecute the cops. And this still is something that never really gets discussed. Like I said, we're running out of time in every single aspect of this society, not just climate change. Sergeant Hodel, thank you very much for the super chat. I hope Trump doesn't roll over like a weakling like Bernie. Don't love Trump, but I would never trade democracy to get him out. I agree. DNC is everybody's enemy. I agree, man. By all indications, it doesn't look like he's rolling over. They're trying to get him to step down and resign, and he's looking like he's telling everybody to kiss his ass. And guess what? If I was him, I would do exactly the same thing. Jim Jones, I agree. Any means necessary is the only way, not these Coke or Pepsi choices. Brilliantly put. Brilliantly put. All right, people. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Yasukasa. Like I said, if you want to support the show, you can click on that Rockfin Premium. You can click on the Rockfin Premium link below. A Rockfin link, below. You can also scan use your phone to scan the QR code to follow us on Odyssey and on Rockfin. You can also donate to us on Patreon or Cash App. And the PayPal link is also in that Linktree link in the description below. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into that live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Make sure you tune in later on. We're going to have Pasta Jardula coming on the show. And he's going to talk about some of his experiences with mail-in ballots specifically, since everybody, swear to God, they're an expert all of a sudden. We're going to let Pasta school y'all a bit. With that being said, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.